Hi everybody and welcome to tonight's YouTube. And so obviously today is our first one that's official that we're filming ourselves. So it's a bit exciting. Now what I actually decided to do is two different types of things. So some weeks I'm going to be on location and other weeks I'll be coming to you from my home and we'll go through different hints and tips and ideas right from the off of my sitting room and on my dining room. So welcome to today and let's get started. So today I'm going to be talking to you all about Bride School. So I need to tell you a little bit more about what this concept is before we get started, and I'll show a little bit of the book and just a few little insights of what's in store within these handbooks and these spreadsheets. Each part of my book I'm going to kind of go through on a weekly session, and each bit will be focused around flowers one week, cakes the next. We'll look at venue styling, seating plans, invites, budgeting, every single little detail. And it will all be available on my channel, so you'll be able to look back and actually choose the bits that you need to do. We'll also talk about to-do lists, etc., etc. So today I'm going to share the screen with you and I'm going to show you a little bit about the handbook, just a few little insights. So let's have a go. So here is your wedding plan, the handbook, and it takes you all the way through your planning with us, right from the congratulations on engagement to how to plan your dream day, thinking of certain questions that you need to ask yourselves, and basically the concepts that you need to go through before making a decision on what you actually want from your day and how to do it. There's examples on every page, so it will take you right from the beginning, explaining absolutely everything. We have 5 top tips, my very best top tips. We have the venue, my absolute go-to, which basically is going to be the stage for your most important day. And this is a place that you need to revisit and revisit and revisit to ensure that it's the most perfect day for you and for your family, to enjoy and take advantage of every single last bit. The tables. Now, the tables is all about the style you want to go for. Do you want trestle tables? Do you want round tables? What's your style? Are you thinking of having something romantic or something quite modern and contemporary? It's all to do with numbers too. Obviously, at the moment, in the situation that we are in, smaller numbers are the way forward. And to be honest, it is the most beautiful way to go. Music, really important, huge top tip. Make sure you've seen them live if you're getting a band. If not, check out their YouTube or their Instagram account to make sure that they exactly are what fits. This is going to entertain you and your guests throughout the whole of your day. The food, most people's absolute go-to. There's so many different things that you can do when it comes down to food, and each part actually gives you the opportunity to put towards your style and your theme right from the off. The food is something that couples absolutely go for every time because they want their guests to be well fed and watered, and a lot of the day centers around food and the beauty of it. The photos. These photos are going to last you forever. Make sure that you check out your photographer, look through all their Instagram and all their Facebook accounts, check out their testimonies, actually go over and maybe see some of the work that they've got in their albums to really make sure that it's the style that you want. Some photographers go down the angle of much more pose, whereas lots more go down more of a natural and want to take advantage of the beauty behind just capturing the day. Now, these photos are going to be there on your wall for the rest of your life, so make sure you absolutely love them. A few more bits to show you. The wedding schedule, really important. It takes you through absolutely everything from as soon as all the way down to on the day. We start off at 12 months, but obviously that's something that you can customize to yourself. But we go through each bit, everything that you need to do, and we've got our to-do list actually links up with each part of the handbook to tell you exactly what you need to do. So all you have to do is go off and check it off to make sure that you captured every single bit. We take you all the way down to the day before, on the day, and then we leave you with top questions that you want to ask yourself, ask your suppliers, and basically find out what you really want from your day. And that helps you plan the right suppliers to book, the right venue to even hire, and it goes through absolutely everything. So we've got questions about the budget, about the drinks. Drinks is obviously a most important part of a wedding for lots of guests. We've got DIY. Now, this is where lots of people are unsure as to whether or not it can save you money or not. I am always in two minds about DIY. If you're a real crafty character and your family is crafty, then absolutely, doing it yourself works perfectly. But if not, you can end up spending so much more on trying to do things yourself than if you was to just simply hire something. And then you have to remember that you have all these things left over. However, the reverse of that is perhaps if you was to make your own centerpieces, instead of buying your guests the ones that are special to you and you'd want to gift flowers to, instead of doing that, you could gift them a centerpiece, which actually kind of kills two birds with one stone. And it's a really lovely gift for your guests to be able to take away from your day and pop it in their mantelpiece or in their hallway and just walk past it and they'll remember you and your special day every time. We also come to the venue, which we've talked lots about. Really big question, I think, the venue, because ultimately that is going to be the setting for your day. If the walls are yellow and the wallpaper is burgundy, that is exactly what it's going to look like on your day. Don't just fall in love with the outside, but also think about a contingency if it is terrible weather. You'll want to be able to go inside and retreat. And the thing is if you're not keen on those colours, and your style's not going to fit them, it's definitely something to consider before you actually pay your deposit. We've got weddings abroad. Very exciting because obviously we are now working with South African venues alongside the Lost Society. So check that out a little bit more. We'll do a blog all about that anyway. But weddings abroad are incredible, and check that out. But we'll do a whole new blog about that. But do make sure that if you do get married abroad that you are legally bound in this country, because not all places actually follow the same government guidelines in this country. So that is one thing to make sure you check out with your travel supplier before you actually go. Gift list. It's becoming a little bit old hat really to have a registry. However, lots of guests like to be able to buy something specific. It's becoming much more customary for couples to live together, and so they tend to ask for whether that be money towards their honeymoon or money towards maybe a future plan that they have, renovating their house. There's all different sorts. If you even just look on Pinterest or on Google, or even your stationer will be able to help you word something that's really lovely to be able to insert within your invites. So people don't just turn up with 1,000 microwaves. Not that people do that anymore, but still. Children. Oh, now there's so many different things to think about when it comes down to children. Lots of people love the idea of incorporating their little ones, and others actually like the idea of keeping it as an adult-only reception so that they can actually enjoy, and it kind of gives mum and dad a bit of a night off, and also allows the children not to be bored or fed up in certain parts like the speeches or even the ceremony where they're expected to be quiet. And sometimes it's nice if it is just an adult-only event. However, I actually will be doing a photo shoot later this month with Danielle Chapman, and she will be able to talk we're going to be doing a photo shoot all about children and the importance of having children at your wedding, and also not. So watch this space because I'll be doing a bit of a blog to go inside my Insight magazine for that. Children's menu, something really to consider. Again, we'll talk all about that. The dress. One of the most important parts for a bride, obviously, is finding the most amazing dress and one that suits them and their figure, and every single thing really complements everything that they want from their day. It's something that most girls dream about from being very little. So the dress is an all-time, absolute, guaranteed thing that every couple really wants to get right. Well, every bride, definitely. We've got guests. We're talking about different ways in which to kind of accommodate your guests, whether you need to think about hotel rooms or if you need to think about the entertainment for them, how you're going to get them there, are you going to put on transport? There's a whole host of different aspects to really consider. Menu choices. Ultimately, it's your day, so it should be your way. Lots of couples come to me and who are vegan, for example, and they say, oh gosh, I'm vegan, my husband's vegan, but the rest of our guests eat meat. What do we do? If you want a vegan menu, enjoy your vegan menu. Have something cooked that is specifically for you, that's not something you have every day, something that's really dedicated to you and your partner's choices. And for the rest of your guests, it will just be an experience for them and for their palates. Some venues offer two different types. They can do a vegan and also a meat option. But it's sometimes nice just to kind of say, hey, let's just go totally vegan and offer our guests the opportunity to experience something different that really is important to us as a couple. It really has got to completely come into you and your hands. And sometimes by having more than one choice actually makes the budget more expensive. Transport. People ask me about transport all the time. Transport for them from the church, if they're getting married in church, the reception venue, but particularly what transport they need to put on for their guests. It's not always customary. So a lot of people do actually put on transport for their guests. It very much depends if everyone's staying in the same place. If you're all staying at a certain house or in a hotel and you're traveling to the venue together, it's a good option to put down transport. But if not, it's sometimes a little bit of a waste of money if guests can and maybe will actually find their own way home. So it's something to really consider. It very much is venue and wedding specific. Now we talk about etiquette and traditions. One of my favourite parts, actually. I really love kind of doing things that are quirky and unique, but also love going back to the actual etiquette and traditions that centre around weddings. So we talk all about theme and style, which is something that I really, really go on about all of the time, as well as invitations to make sure that every single thing kind of flows and is all together and looks great and complements one another. It's really important to make sure that when you're doing your invitations, that actually displays how the wedding is going to feel, or you just need to make it very plain, very generic, so people don't match or colour theme their outfit in line with the invitations you send out. We talk about speeches. Lots of couples are very nervous, particularly dads, when it comes down to speeches. So we kind of talk through a little bit about what you need to talk about, what you should do. There's lots of hints and tips and ideas, even just on the internet, about different verses to actually have. I know a fantastic lady, Rhymes to Remember, and she actually helps couples write vows to one another, but also fantastic when it comes down to speeches as well. If a father of the bride is maybe having struggles putting words into place, she can come up with something that's really special for you. I'll put all their details in at the end of this book. The lineup. Very traditional, very traditional. Not many venues do it now, not very many couples want to do it now, but it is a real traditional aspect. And I do think there's a lot of scope here for couples who want to go around the real traditional side for their wedding reception. And if definitely you don't want a traditional lineup, it's really nice to actually have an area where you, as a bride and groom, meet your guests, whether that be after the ceremony or during the reception, so that you can actually spend time with each one, rather than else you just end up flitting from one to the next to the next, and it can get a little bit lost and you feel like you haven't spoken to anyone. So the lineup is a fantastic opportunity for guests just to wish you congratulations. Top table seating plan. Now, as you will know from many different things that I talk about, I love a top table, but my very favourite is a sweetheart table. The reason for that, for me, is when we come down to the dynamics of different families, and also the fact that we have split families and divorced parents sometimes, as well as obviously the confusion of whether we want partners sat on the top table with best men, etc. And if there's children involved, sometimes the top table can become very overwhelming for couples to actually consider and plan without getting too kind of upset and stressed about it. So sometimes it's really nice to just completely take yourself out of that equation and actually just say, hey, we're doing a seating plan and we're just going to do us on a sweetheart table, and the rest of our guests mix and mingled with everybody else. It's definitely something that I'd recommend, particularly some families who maybe need a little bit more space on the top table but don't have that option to actually just scrap the whole thing and just go down the sweetheart table. Plus you get to actually have a conversation with one another as bride and groom, which is something that lots of guests actually take over, and you don't have that time to be able to sit and have a chat, just you two individually. So we talk all about the options for that, as well as flowers, the different actual flowers and the meanings behind them. Again, it's something that's very traditional and used to be really customary for brides actually to make sure that their wedding flowers really matched and suited with the theme and what they wanted to really get from their wedding. Now it's generally something that is slightly overlooked, and we just tend to go on colour and potentially on what looks good, and also seasonal flowers. But there are some traditional elements which I really love to incorporate, and it is really nice and a great talking point. If your flower means specific things, whether that be happiness, true love, etc., etc., it's really good fun. And your florist will have lots of different information about that as well. And it's really important to take the time to actually look at your florist. And I think it's a well worth investment, because your flowers play such an important and central part to your day and all your photos, as well as your theme and your style and the beauty behind the whole affair. The bouquet, again, we talk lots about the different flowers that could be incorporated and different things that could be good luck that we weave in it. Then we talk about the proposal and the importance of the proposal and different ideas. Obviously, we've started our proposal planning as well, which we actually work with Fig and Flower, and we offer the most amazing proposal site. So it's very exciting. So if anybody is thinking of getting married or wanting to propose in the near future, definitely get in touch, and we can make it absolutely magical, particularly in this crazy world we're living in, where it's not quite so simple to jet off to Paris. Again, the old saying of something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, something that is very poignant in today's wedding circle at the moment. Brides are absolutely loving this vow and this tradition, and I really have seen it really key this year, particularly, that people are really wanting to go through that, whether or not it's just because of something that's super lucky and something that's traditionally something that people should definitely do and brides should take advantage of. But it's really nice to be able to incorporate granny's jewelry, or your sister's shoes that she maybe wore for her wedding. Lots of different options there, and we can talk about different ideas there too. Church traditions talk about the different ideas around centering around the church and the importance of such, and why the groom and the bride stand on certain sides in the church, why the father walks to the bride down the aisle. Lots of different things to kind of think about. All that's very traditional, but that all is very poignant, particularly in a church today, where obviously they do still follow a lot of those traditions. On the day, talking about different days, different months, and different ideas. It's just a little old wives' tale, but sometimes it's really fun to add into the advice. So it's definitely something to have a little check out. Just kind of adds to the quirkiness of your day. Wedding dress is so important, and it actually there's a lot of tradition around the wedding dress as well, so it's really ideal to check it out, and to obviously the whole tradition of marrying white, marrying in ivy, but also the idea of marrying in pink and marrying in blue or red, which is actually quite popular for couples to actually go, hey, we're just going to go full out and we're actually going to choose a different style wedding dress and go for something that's a little bit different. Obviously on the day we talk all about that, and the wedding cake, crossing the threshold, all the importance, centering around it, and little things that couples really like to add into their day just to make it extra special. Anniversaries, which is things obviously as you're approaching your first anniversary, what you actually going to buy one another to signify it. The first is always super special and super exciting for couples. We talk about the different duties and responsibilities of the chief bridesmaids, the best men. A lot of couples approach me and say, hey, you know, we've got our bridesmaids, we've got our best men, but we don't actually really know what they need to be doing. Ultimately, they're there to support you, and they're there to actually be able to help you in any way that you see fit and kind of give you the advice and the assurance that you need. But we highlight a few ideas which are always good for people to be able to say, this is what the book says, this is what you need to do. Wedding insurance, absolutely. I recommend to every bride. Obviously, at the moment, wedding insurance is posed incredibly important for lots of couples. But at the moment, it's very hard to come by and actually get, because of all the insurance companies are changing their policies due to COVID. But it's definitely something that I recommend couples to actually purchase right from the off, because it literally covers a whole host of eventualities, and unfortunately things do go wrong, and I've seen it time and time again where people have had to rely on wedding insurance, and it is incredibly sad, but the consequences without it are even worse. Plus, it doesn't really cost very much at all. Useful questions to ask suppliers. People ask me all the time, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to ask. If people hire me as a wedding planner, obviously I'll ask those questions, and I already know a lot of the suppliers that I recommend, or have done an awful lot of research into them. And so there's a lot of the questions that you may have are already asked before you even get round to even asking those questions. However, my handbook is more centered around couples who don't want me as a wedding planner, but actually want the help and the assistance of their day. So then we go on to just sort about different ideas and about the cancellation policy, the deposits, what happens if they're ill on the day, etc., etc. And then we end it quite simply on my words of wisdom, which has to be one of my favorite things. And basically, it's marry the person you choose to sit next to in a room full of people you know. So that's it. That's the handbook, guys. And yeah, it's just a quick whistle-stop tour of what's included and why it's important, why it can help couples, and it gives you all the guidance. Alongside that, we have a to-do list which matches up for each month that you need to go through. It asks you all the different questions again, and you literally just tick it off and say, okay, I've done that, I need to do this. We have a spreadsheet, which I'm just going to quickly share the screen with you for our spreadsheet, just so that you can kind of see the different aspects here. Obviously, this is your to-do list. You write down when it needs to be done, when it's completed. It literally goes through absolutely everything. As you can see, it takes you down all the way from 12 months, etc., 11 months, 10 months, all in line with the actual handbook. So everything correlates easily to one another. The seating plan, one of couples' reigns of their life, is finding out where people need to sit. And this option gives you a really good idea of just being able to pop people in, easily move people around, and it just gives you a real visualization, because lots of couples come to me with hundreds and thousands of different pieces of paper that they've written on, and well, we think we want our seating plan like this, but we can't remember which one was our up-to-date version. So obviously this keeps everything in place, up to date, and you can easily amend and add things on, whether people are vegetarian, if they need a high chair, if they're gluten-free, if they've got allergies to peanuts. Literally everything can go on, and you can just literally send this as well to the catering supplier or the hotel to be able to say, hey, this is our guest list, this is where people are going to be sat, and those are the vegetarians. So it makes it super simple. Invites, again, we've got our guests, whether or not they're coming to the day or the evening, the save the date, RSVP, every single thing is in here. So it makes it so simple for you to just import. It even tells you at the top exactly what to do. So it makes it so easy for you to just import and keep every single thing in one place. I am a bit of a spreadsheet geek, shall we say, and I like to be super efficient and super organized, and this is just some of the things that I use, some of the tools I use for my couples, being passed on to you and for you to be able to use for your wedding and how you plan. Budget. One of the most important things for couples planning their wedding is obviously the budget and how much it's actually going to cost you. So again, every single thing that you can think of is highlighted on the budgeting list. So you can see it just goes through absolutely every single thing, and there's lots of space at the bottom for you to add on your extra items. And this basically gives you the opportunity to write in all the information you need, all the supplier details and the contacts, so that again is all in one place. The budget, the actual balance that you need to pay, the date it needs to be paid for, and it saves you from just carrying things around in little books and not being quite sure, not having everything correlated. With this handbook and with this spreadsheet management, you can literally just have it uploaded onto your phone. You can take it absolutely anywhere on your lunch break at work. You can amend things, you can add things to it, and it's so super simple. It's really easy to use, and you've not just got to keep remembering, I must take my book from home, I must do this. Whereas if you're at work and you get a call from your florist, you're able to straight away update your spreadsheet, update your to-do list, so you know exactly what you're doing. Weddings are super stressful for lots of couples, and there's a lot to think about and do. It kind of goes in fits and starts. So you start off with so much to do, and then it dips down and there's kind of nothing really to do. And people come to me all the time and say, I think I'm missing something, because there's literally nothing to do. But then it kind of goes racing back up again. So the stress levels are always a little dipping process. So by having everything in one place and really simplified, really organized, enables you to combat all those worries and concerns, and you can just simply look back and go, no, I am on the right track, I know what I'm doing. And these are all the things that we would go through with you anyway, so it just gives you the option to be able to kind of go through these things yourself and actually look at things in a completely different way. And you really have your wedding planner, which is your wedding plan, actually right at your fingertips, and it's all the information that we would use and all the wedding things that we use to plan with our couples. So that's a little bit about Bride School. So I'm going to leave it there. I'll put a link in the bottom with your link to actually purchase the book. Even also, if you go over to my website, there's a direct link on there. You can go straight through to the checkout as well and purchase your wedding plans. If you've got any questions, just send me a message or an email, and obviously we'll just get straight back to you. If you're a venue and you want to actually have Bride School incorporated within your wedding packages, get in touch, and Melissa will be, she's going to be starting on that project for me, and she'll be talking to other different venues and actually having some of our Bride School handbooks associated and affiliated with some of the venues across the UK. So again, it gives couples the ability, when they're booking at a different venue that we don't collaborate with, still the tools and the resources to actually use the planning tools that we use. But if you're not getting married at that sort of venue, or that venue's not part of the Bride School initiative, then you can simply buy it online completely yourself. It's a fantastic present for a friend or a bridesmaid or a maid of honor to actually gift to her bride or to her groom. So it's a really fantastic resource for people, and it is so cheap for the information that you get from it. And like I say, each week we'll be coming on and we'll be doing a YouTube video which kind of relates very much down to the Bride School book, and we'll be going out on location lots of times. So next week I plan out going on location. I'm not going to tell you where, mainly because I haven't planned it just yet, but I've got an exciting thing that I'd really like to do. And so that will be brought to you next week. So anyway, like and subscribe my page, and we'll see you next week. Bye.